Revoice Podcast Network. The mic is ours. Hey listeners, welcome back to a Revoice Network original called Podline, where students like you can anonymously share your burning college-related dilemmas and issues based on the weekly topic. I'm your host, Kayla.
And I'm Caroline.
And we're both seniors attending VCU, so think of us as the big sisters you never knew you needed, who have been through it all and can give it to you straight. Now, you may be asking, where can I go to submit an issue I need advice on? Well, stay tuned to find out towards the end of the show. Now, let's get into the topic of this week, which is bad professors.
These are some different types of bad professors that we could think of. Professors that bank your entire grade on one exam and make your exam 25 or 50% of your grade. Mm-hmm. Those are the worst. Mm-hmm. A professor that assigns too much work, busy work. Professors who aren't clear about grading or how they grade or guidelines or rubrics, things like that. Professors who are terrible at explaining things. I
hate those professors.
Yeah, those are my least favorite. Yeah. And then this is another one of my least favorites. Professors who lack compassion and empathy for their students.
That's a big one. Ones that are if I tell my professor, oh yeah, my dog just died, and they're like, okay.
Okay.
Okay, still do the assignment.
Okay, you can bring me the ashes and your assignment that's due.
I guess we're gonna get into the submissions that people sent us about their bad professor's experience, and then we're gonna see which one of these, the bad professors that we just listed resonates with the professor in the situation. So yeah. The first submission says, I've had an art professor refuse to teach me and expect me to know everything. So my suggestion is evaluate what they want and figure out how to achieve it on your own. And honestly, I agree with this person's advice that they gave, because honestly, in situations like this, sometimes you just got to figure it out on your own. Because you'll just come to the conclusion after trying so many times to get through to your professor that oh, I'm on my own here. I can't really do much with what the professor's giving me. Mm-hmm. So honestly, I would just kind of figure it out for yourself, because honestly, that's kind of the only option. Or if there's people that can help you. I know VCU in particular has a lot of resources for that, tutoring and stuff like that. So if you're really struggling, I would do that.
The Learning Center?
Yeah, the Learning Center. Mm-hmm. If it's for writing, personally, I work at the Writing Center, guys. So if you want to, schedule an appointment through Navigate, we have really good consultants. We'll help you. And I also think, you could also just talk to your peers within the class, because chances are they're probably struggling.
If you have group me's made, mm-hmm. sometimes people make class group me's. Those are helpful.
Yeah, those can definitely be helpful, because chances are they're struggling too. So, why not collaborate and struggle together?
Yeah.
So.
All right. And for our next submission, this one says, I had a math professor that was really frustrating to learn from. This professor was not good at teaching at all. She would never fully answer students' questions, and she would always read the slideshows she made word for word, which is not something my professors usually do. On top of that, she would cancel a lot of classes extremely last minute with little to no explanation, and overall just never truly seemed prepared to teach a college math level class. The only reason I stayed in the class was because there were math problems I viewed occasionally in high school before graduating, and it seemed more like a review course for me than actually learning new material. Yeah.
That's kind of annoying.
Yeah, this is really annoying. This professor I agree with whoever submitted this. They did not seem like they're prepared to teach her. Maybe I'd give them the benefit of the doubt and say maybe they were overwhelmed themselves with classes. Maybe they had a lot of students to deal with.
You never know. People could be going through their own thing.
Yeah.
But at that point, I'm just there are options. You could just maybe pull back from teaching.
Yeah.
Maybe don't teach as much, or maybe just don't teach at all. Take a break.
Yeah, take a break. Yeah.
Because if you're not in the right mental mindset to be teaching students, then I don't think that you should be teaching students.
Yeah. And it's hundreds of students that you're going to affect too.
Yeah. And that are relying on you to give them the information they need to graduate.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just sometimes teachers need to think about stuff like that, or professors need to think about stuff like that.
Yeah, I would say this is definitely frustrating, but overall my advice would say to, if you can, stick with the class and teach yourself, but never be afraid to withdraw from your course if you think it's going to affect your GPA poorly. And just always take it again.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. I mean, that's why the withdrawal period is as long as it is. 'Cause, like, you know, maybe you have time to realize that, like, maybe this just isn't a class that's going to work for me, or a class that I really need to take right now with this teacher especially.
Yeah.
You know? So I would agree with Caroline. Just, like, drop the class if need be, which I know people like me, I'm like, yo, I'm not dropping this class.
Yeah, for me, I can't do it for myself. It can be like so mentally damaging to my
right. Like,
I have to be academically perfect.
Like, I just don't want to like give up. Like, what am I doing? Like, I'm not gonna give up. No, I'm gonna push through. I'm gonna do it. But like, if I end up getting like a poor grade in the class, and that's gonna really like affect my GPA, and I'm gonna regret it. So just really think about, even though as hard as it can be to like wanna withdraw from a class, like, just think about how it can affect you in the future. You could potentially take the class in a later semester with a different teacher that's not as bad. So the next submission, the student said, I was in a group project for my fashion class, and we had to make a slide presentation and present it by the end of the week. Everyone in the group played a part in making the presentation successful, except this one girl. She never showed up to the group meetings, nor did she ever respond to the group chat that I created. I completed my slide and took on the leadership role within this group, and when the time came around to present, I knew she was just going to stand there and look like an idiot, but that wasn't my issue. She should have done the work. When it's my turn to present my slide, this girl starts reading my slide as if she made it herself. I was shocked and I was angry, but I just froze. In order to avoid making a scene, I thought it would be best to inform my professor afterwards about the situation. Another girl from my group voluntarily went with me to talk to my professor because she knew the other girl didn't contribute at all. When I tell my professor everything, all he has to say is, you should have said something earlier. Like, what? What was I supposed to do? Interrupt the presentation by making a scene and calling this girl out? That night, I was so upset and sent my professor a very lengthy email with screenshots of evidence proving I did everything and she did nothing. And he still gave her an A. Should I have said something in the middle of the presentation, or did I do the right thing?
I think they did the right thing, personally. Because I don't think I would have caused a scene. I think I would have probably confronted them after, not in front of the entire class. But what pisses me off is obviously professor. I don't understand why they would say you should have said something earlier. Yeah. Because why would someone want to cause a scene in the middle of a big presentation that's going to be graded?
Right. And I'm like trying to think of how that scenario would play out in my head. Like, it would just be so awkward. It would just be like, oh, like, yeah, I did this, she didn't do shit.
Yeah, in front of like 20 other students.
Exactly. So it's just kind of like, what do you mean I should have said something earlier? You mean earlier before we presented?
Yeah.
If that's the case, like, how do you expect the girl to know that this girl is gonna, you know,
say the slide for her? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and take credit. So I feel like this professor is the one that's a little too chill, to the point where like he doesn't even want to deal with conflict. Yeah. Which is really, really annoying. And I honestly think this might be my least favorite type of professor, because that would really irk me. The situation would really, really annoy me, especially since this person did so much of the work to make this presentation successful, and then you're just gonna give everybody an A. Like, that's just not fair. So that's just really annoying. Okay, well, listeners, it looks like we're out of time, but don't worry, we'll be back next week to give more advice. Follow the Revoice Network on Instagram at Revoice Network. To submit a response for future episodes, follow us at Podline _Revoice, where our Share Your Dilemmas Google form lives. Once again, I'm your host, Kayla.
And I'm Caroline.
And thanks
for listening.
See you next week.